Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the showdown between the Vampire Coast, who shall be led by the Hard Knock Life, and Bretonnia, who's going to be helmed by Uncle Albert. And guess what, guys? He's going to be on foot with his rock hard trident. So on that note, guys, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So here in the front line, we got four groups of the zombie pirate deckhand mobs with polearms, and these guys are just such MVPs against Bretonnia. So firstly, they're a pretty good tar pit. 8,640 HP is going to take quite some time for even the more elite Bretonian infantry to cut through. But more importantly, they have anti-large, they have armor piercing, which makes them pretty much the ideal choice against Bretonnia, right? Because you're going to be facing Knights Errant, Knights of the Realm, stuff like that. And worst case scenario, I mean, it's not a big deal that you paid an extra 100 gold to get the polearms instead of the standard variant. So in the front line, we got four of those bad boys. And as our centerpiece model here, we do have Count Noctilus going to be coming in with his, I don't know if that's like a, it's not a rocket launcher, it's like a quad cannon shooting thing. But anyways, he's very good against Bretonnia. Now, he does have, not the best armor. I mean, 75 is still pretty good, but peasant archers with volume of fire can bring him down, so you still have to be careful and respect them. But his cannons are so good against Bretonnia Knights. So basically, you just sit, you shoot downtown, you focus on the Knights of the Realm, the Defenders of Fleur de Lis, the Knights Errant. You just kind of work on all that stuff, and he'll generally get to you some pretty good value. And he's also quite, hard to kill in melee. He doesn't have the best melee defense at 30, but he's still forced to be reckoned with because he can summon things on top of himself. So for example, if he's being swamped and swarmed, let's say your opponent gets like the ideal charge. Noctilus is an open field, he gets surrounded by Knights of the Realm or Grail Knights or things like that. Use the Wrath's Moondial or the Drowned Dead summon that he does have to drop on top of himself, and that's going to make him very, very tough to kill. But something I've noticed, he's quite a bit weaker than he used to be with the nerfs to summons. Noctilus is a character that, obviously was very powerful because of Wrath's Moondial and his summons, and of course being very tanky, but he's still very tanky, relatively tough to kill as far as Vampire Coast Lords go, but you can't use the summons as much of a crutch now. You kind of have to be a little bit more tactical with them and rely on other things. So we do have Noctilus here, going to be trying to take these Knights to Pound Town. In the back, obviously, we don't have a lot of killing power in the front line. It's mostly zombie pirate deckhand mobs. So they're going to be good at holding, but not necessarily killing. With 14 melee defense against 31 melee defense of battle pilgrims, that's going to be a rough trade. So we do have some depth guard. So depth guard are just lawnmowers. These guys just cut through chaff units. I mean, 70 weapon strength when they're frenzied here, 57 melee attack, good armor. They're like the ideal counter pick against like most Bretonian infantry, except Foot Squires. Foot Squires actually do pretty well against him. We have a Morngul Haunter. Now, he's a bit of a niche pick here. I think he's very good against Bretonnia because Bretonnia typically cycle charges, and he has a slowing aura. So a lot of people actually don't know this. If you look at this creepy crawly here, just dragging himself through the sand, which is quite nasty. He does slow things down by 36%. So if the opponent's coming in with Lewin or Cav units, he's very good at slowing them down, and he also causes terror, so I think he's pretty good. We got some Mornguls in the back to give us a little bit more punch. Like I said, our front line is lacking a little bit in that respect. Zombie Pirate Gunnery mobs here. We got two handguns. Didn't want to go too deep into them because peasant archers are pretty much a natural counter, so I think that was a little bit scary. And also we have the Tide of Scold and some halberds. For our pressure, I was expecting Peasant Bowman. Most good Bretonian players that I'm playing against, El Halcon here, is a very, very good player, are going to be bringing a ton of Peasant Archers, so you have to have some tools to harass that. So we got Fellbats, and I think in total we have 3 Scurvy Dogs. One here, and one on the far side. So we're going to have our hands full, trying to get into the back line, shut those guys down, and free up our elite troops, because the peasant archers are a counter to our guns, they're a counter to our Mornguls. Even with volume of fire, they can take down depth guards, so I really need to get rid of those guys. And for my opponent's army here in the front line, it's all battle pilgrims, with the Holy Wardens as well, a couple of Spearmen at Arms mixed in there, but for the most part, a very badass front line. I mean, they're shielded, they hit hard. A pretty good answer against, Vampire Coast front line, I think. He's got 5 Peasant Archers as well, a healer with a Damsel of Lore of Life, and Knights of the Lion-Hearted, Knights Errant, and on the far side, Knights of the Realm, Knights Errant, so it looks like it's pretty much the same composition, and he does also have the Defenders here. Now, Knights Errant are, not the best against, like, Vampire Coast infantry, simply because there's so many of the halberds and stuff, but they're very good at defending against dogs and just being, like, a defensive unit, or getting into the gun line, so using them defensively against Scurvy Dogs, I think, is a really good choice. So on that note, guys, let's get this show on the road. And here you can see that Alberic is going to be on foot. He's got his trident, so looking pretty badass here. So I'm quite excited to see how he does this game. He does have one item, which is going to be the Braid of Bordello here, which does give his nearby allies bonus for large. That's not bad, given those. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same as what what's her name does, freaking Aranessa Salty over there. Anyways, in the meantime, we're going to be dropping some Wraithstorm here on top of these filthy peasants. So I know the peasants are a pretty big deal for me, so I need to get rid of them. So Wraithstorm's going to be coming down, nuking those guys. It does take out quite a few models, and they're probably going to be not wavering, but at least shaken after that. But at that point, I do have to fall back. Count Noctilus is going to be dropping some thunder into the Cav over here, and you can see he's already done some really good damage. We took out a lot of those Knights of the Realm, which I'm quite happy about, but they're still going to be squeaking into the back line. And now the front line fighting is underway. So some of my doggos, they get a little bit wrapped up here in the front line. Not really sure how that happened, but I do have to fall back. The Peasant Archers forced me back, but this is good. Alberic is coming in. He's getting a little bit aggressive here, so I was like, okay, so we can just kind of blast Samurai him here. Let's turn around. Let's shoot him. Let's get the Morngul Haunter and take that bad boy out, and potentially I think we can kill him pretty quick. But a true hero, Bretonnia. Look at this, man, charging up the hill against just this unnameable foe, this monstrosity going to be surging down the hill, but it's going to be a tough one for him. The Morngul Haunter does have a really good stat line, plus bonus for his infantry. And plus, Alberic is just taking a pounding from all the guns. So the black spot and other gun units do take him out. So the hero Bretonnia, relatively short-lived in terms of his tenure here. He's going to be getting terrified and probably chased off the battlefield by this Morgul Hunter. Now, the front line is a bit of a tough situation now. As far as the leadership situation goes, I got a pretty good early pick. I mean, I got pretty lucky there. Alberic probably mistakenly pathed back there. We're able to kind of pick him apart here with the Haunter and our guns. And the Depth Guard are doing good as well. They're up to 22 kills, killing these peasants very quickly. But the volume of fire is not friendly. Depth Guard are taking a lot of arrows. But in the meantime, I have summons back here, I have hounds back here, so the hound pressure is actually really good. We're able to get onto the peasant bowmen. These guys are probably going to break and run. These ones are going to break and run. So far we've killed pretty much 2 of the 5. The third one we're going to be dropping some summons on top of, but they're not the summons of old. These summons are already halfway gone. So pre-patch, these guys would have been lasting all day, would have been sticking on top of the peasant bowman, but he can simply just ignore them at this point. So a lot of Cav are going to be getting into the back line. Knights of the Lion Hearted charging back here are going to be trying to save their liege. You can see Alberic getting pimp slapped over there by the Morgul Hunter. But a beautiful charge, very, very good stuff. And, despite the fact that the start was very bad for him, he's staying very calm and very composed in the face of this very horrible situation. So the zombie park gunnery mobs getting lanced down by the Knights of the Lion Hearted. So the brave Knights of Bretonnia riding firm and just couching their lances and giving the dirty business to those guys right here. I am able to stabilize the other group. The black spot does get some saving here from the zombie park deckhand mobs and Noctiluss, so that's a good situation. And the bounce bar is actually pretty even, despite the fact that his lord's pretty much dead. It's a very, very close fight. Now my depth guard are over chasing a little bit, and they do get a nice little surround here. But the Knights of Bretonnia coming down here, you can see these guys are going to get the perfect rear charge. These guys are just not ready for this. And even though they're very heavily armored and Knights Errant don't have the best AP, it's still going to do a lot of damage. So these guys just get run over here. They do have the damsel helping as well. So losing a lot of depth guard models there. Noctiluss is going to be shooting as well, so a little bit of friendly fire perhaps. But I was trying to kill his damsel, knowing that if I can get rid of his caster, that's going to be huge. And the doggos in the back are pretty much gone, but we did kill 3 peasant bowmen. So we basically traded 3 dogs for 3 peasant bowmen, which I think is a relatively worthwhile trade. I think in terms of cost, you might come out a little bit ahead, but this game isn't about cost for cost all the time. It is sometimes, but obviously just getting rid of the tools that can beat you is more important. So Noctiluss is going to be peg-legging around, just kind of stomping some of these battle pilgrims. That one lonely battle pilgrim getting stomped, but he's going to survive. So one of the few men in the realm of Bretonnia who can say that they survived being pegged by Count Noctiluss here. So Noctiluss is going to be shooting over here, trying to get on the defenders. He's trying to work down the heavy cav, and the bounce power is in my favor, but that is as far mainly is the leadership, right? But there's still a ton of Bretonnians everywhere. The Morgul Hunter is able to get rid of Alberic. So Alberic's glorious charge. That was kind of like in the movie when you have that hubris character who just charges and just gets wrecked. That was like that exact situation. Pretty great stuff. So you still do have some hounds in the back. So Scurvy Dogs, I'm being very just dedicated back here, trying to get rid of these guys. I'm going to be trying to get rid of the damsel here, and it looks like he does have some cav over here. These Knights Errant. So I was really hoping they wouldn't come back, because otherwise I should be able to feast on these damsels right here. But it looks like there are going to be some Knights of the Realm coming over. So we're going to see if we can get rid of his caster here, which is going to be super essential. Now, he does have the Knights of the Lionhearted. He has the Defenders of Fleur-de-Lis, and all my infantry are pretty much gone. I have the Black Spot, who I'm trying to keep alive with Invocation of Heck, trying to get those guys back. And you can see Creepy Crawley over here is going to be coming back in, but Bretonnia's got a lot of stuff. And yeah, even though the bounce power is a little bit in my favor and things are going very well in many respects, he still does have a lot of pressure. So over here, I'm able to shatter some battle pilgrims. These doggies are going to be trying to catch the damsel, but at this point, I kind of get caught by these knights. So I just kind of surge into the peasant bowman, trying to get rid of his fire base. And I have some summons back here as well. So these are summon zombie pride deckhand mobs, and they're going to be disappearing in about 10 or 15 seconds, so not going to be of much more use to me. In the meantime, Noctiluss Daddy is going to be dropping some bombs here on the Holy Wardens, but they do fire damage, which is going to be quite good against him. Let me just adjust my chair here real quick, guys. And yeah, he's going to be peg-legging over some of these guys, but my opponent has some pretty good answers here. El Halcón, despite losing his lord very early, is just solid on top of his sniper. So we get the Raid Storm right there. We pick off a lot of knights, so huge value from Noctiluss' Raid Storm, which is great. And at this point, I try and brace for the charge. I don't know if I got the true brace off, but I'm going to be turning and fighting. They have anti-large, they have AP. Probably have, a decent chance of fending off the defenders, so we're going to be trying that out. I do also send back the Morgul Hunter to protect, while Noctiluss is going to be trying to fight off the Holy Wardens, which are going to be very, very tough to break. Now in the back, I do get rid of those last peasant archers, but now the hordes of Bretonnia descend upon you. 1,000 nations of the Bretonnian Legion. Yeah, we're definitely not going to be able to blot out the sky with bullets anymore, as we only have the black spot. So the black spot going to be turning, and this is I found that is often the case with a lot of my Vampire Ghost games lately. It was kind of like this before too, but I found that even more so. I often just have Noctiluss and 1 or 2 heroic units fighting, yeah, which of course you used to have more summons in the late game, kind of just trickling around, but yeah, now it's much different here. So the Morgul Hunter is going to be fighting against the Holy Wardens, and the Battle Pilgrims are going to be surging into the back line. Battle Pilgrims do have really good leadership, so those guys are going to be holding, although they're going to be getting slapped up a little bit, but you know what? They're good for it. They're fighting for the lady. They're quite happy about this. Even the guy who's being eaten right now, I'm sure he's enjoying himself. So the black the black spot, yeah, the black spot here in the back is going to be turning and shooting, hopefully getting a couple volleys in these knights here. Noctilus is going to be stomping around. He does get a summon right here, and the summon, as far as their duration goes, they still have quite some time. So I'm trying to use the Haunter over here to kind of protect these guys and serve as a deterrent. But once the black spot falters, the Morgul Haunter is going to be fighting a lot of anti-large troop. Knights of the Lionhearted are very, very good at killing things like the Morgul Haunter. They have a fat charge bonus of 92 right now with the Lance Formation. So those guys mean business. And you can see they're going to be crumpling the black spot and these other troops. And my summons over here are doing okay. I mean, they got 7 kills, which isn't bad. I have some natural zombies. The Tide of Skilled still going strong, up to 70 kills. So those zombos definitely serving Skilled well. And yeah, they're going to be going over there trying to shut down those peasant archers, but I don't know if we're going to be able to. So at this point, it gets a little bit grindy. So I'll do some fast forwarding as we just get in position. I do drop another Invocation of Heck, trying to keep high and tight. Noctilus is quite healthy. You can see here he's pretty much full HP, nowhere near his healing cap. Most of the invocations of Nahek this game were actually used on the Haunter and some of the other supporting troops, so I haven't used too many on him, so he's still going to be in good shape. And does he have the hunger on that? He does have the hunger when he's on his Colossus, so he's still somehow, despite being up in the sail or the crow's nest up there, is able to suck the blood of his enemies. So I'm not sure how that works, but you know what? I'm not going to question it. It's Warhammer. So down here on the ground, you can see the Morgul Haunter is going to be fighting tooth and nail, but the Bretonnians are slowly kind of grinding down my forces. I do have another summon here, which is going to be super useful. So I get a summon. The Morgul Haunter is going to be slapping up some of those Knights of the Realm, doing a great job. Noctilus is going to be chasing as well, so I'm trying to finish off the Knights because I feel like I can get a mass rout on the battle pilgrims and some of these other troops once their frenzy is gone. But even still, man, they're still rocking their frenzy. Those guys are just so meaty. And the Morgul Haunter coming over here, as far as kills, he does have 52, which is quite good. But the Knights of the Lionhearted are going to be piling in. And Noctilus and the summons are a little bit behind, so I was hoping that he would like tar pit them and then I could shoot them with Noctilus, but it just wasn't working out like that. So I do get one more Invocation of Nahek, I believe, or no, that was actually some sort of a Bretonnian buff. I think it was an Earthblood. And now you guys can see the balance of power is ebbing a little bit. Very, very close game here. And the Morgul Haunters gets fully surrounded, just a fully erect charge coming in from the Knights of the Lionhearted, these other troops, into the bare hide here of the Morgul Haunter. And man, he is going to be getting taken down. So at this point, Bretonnia massively takes over in terms of the balance of power. And that is going to be all she wrote, as just my forces dissipate and collapse. So what a well-played game to El Halcón. I mean, he took a massive catastrophic hit in the beginning, losing his lord. And even, his archers were compromised. He did a really good job kind of stabilizing what he had left, getting his forces into the back line, staying disciplined, not kind of panicking, and just getting in there and just cleaning up shop. And I really think that the way I've been playing with Vampire Coast lately, and like I gotta kind of switch my not be so reliant on like summons. Like a build like this, usually I kind of like, okay, summons can endlessly hold back the Bretonnian tide in the front, but I just don't think it. Yeah, I think the nerf was very warranted. I think that summons were a little bit abused, and I think it's a great nerf. I think it's justified. But I'm just saying I need to adjust my playstyle and change up some of my builds to be a little bit more sustainable. Like maybe mixing in a couple depth guard or getting some Prometheans to give me a little bit of presence. Because with a build like this, where you rely on the summons to kind of protect your juicy parts, I think it's going to be a little bit different than it used to be for sure. But it was still a very close game for sure, and incredibly fun. I love his usage of the battle pilgrims. That was really good. I think they're a very, very solid pick here. They're very tough to terror out. They're immune to psychology while their frenzy is active. They have great DPS against just trash infantry, like so basically zombie powered deckhand mobs. Yeah, really good. Peasant archers are a natural counter against guns, and the Bretonnian knights were just very efficient at just cycle charging, especially the brave souls, the Knights of the Lionhearted. Those guys were the true heroes of their people here, so I like seeing those guys in action quite a bit. So very well played to El Halcón. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Vampire Coast for Bretonnia game. We will see you guys next time. Take care.